ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد. So inshallah, let's then continue with the Quranic diagrammatic overviews. We want to now take inshallah the 11th juz, but as always let's recap inshallah. So far we reached up to Surah Al-Anfal and we started to look at Surah Tawbah. The link between the two surahs, if we just look at the central themes, the central theme for Surah Al-Anfal, the philosophy of jihad, its rules and encouragement to make jihad, and the rulings related to peace and warfare, and an explanation of the merits of jihad. And then when we go to the next surah, how it is linked, it then talks about it is vital to resist and make jihad against the mushrikeen. So this is the specific audience of the Prophet ﷺ of Makkah, i.e. the Bani Ismail, the people of the book and the munafiqeen. And it is also vital to prepare and nurture the weak believers. And we will see that in today's session, how this, a major part of the surah, roughly 85, if I'm not mistaken, ayat, will address this issue of nifaq, hypocrisy, and how it stopped people from coming forth into battle. Khair. Let's take that then inshallah, this section, command to make jihad against the munafiqun. Now munafiq is somebody who outwardly claims to be a believer but inwardly doesn't believe, and he knows that, so he pretends. Nafaqa is actually a tunnel, an underground tunnel that has two openings. So nifaq is this hypocrisy. Many ahadith mention this, but three signs of the munafiq, as we know from the Sahih hadith, that there are three signs of the hypocrite. Whenever he speaks, he lies. That's number one. Whenever he is made custodian of something, he betrays that trust. And the third one, when he is promised, when he promises, he breaks it. In another hadith, also Sahih, the fourth characteristic has been given, إِذَا خَاصَمَ فَجَرَ. When he is in a dispute of some sort, then he will lose all control, as if he will become very angry and bad-tempered. Khair, let's take this then, ayat. Let's take 42 first of all. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And this is referring to Tabuk, because you know Tabuk was, as the brothers mashallah they mentioned already, this was a very, very severe test. Very severe test. You know this surah, Surah Tawbah, this is also known by many other names. Anybody know the names? Any other names from Ulumul Quran? One of the names of this surah is that which uncovers the munafiqun. I forgot the Arabic of that. It uncovers the munafiqun because it tells everything about the munafiqun and what is happening inside, what they're feeling, what they're thinking, what they're intending. It uncovers them. So this is, in this context of Tabuk, they started to make excuses. Because look at the test, because previously in Al-Quran Al-Kareem, I think we mentioned, if not then in Surah Al-Ankabut we will definitely mention it, that Allah Ta'ala is saying, and in Al-Baqarah I believe, that we will test you من الخوف والجوع والنقص من الأموال والثمرات وبشر الصابرين. Allah Ta'ala is saying we will definitely test you in the loss of wealth, yourself, in your fruits. So the people who are steadfast, for them there is glad tidings. Now this is a huge test, because when Tabuk is happening now, this is against an empire, the empire of 30,000. The believers are 30,000 compared to the disbelievers, I can't remember the name exactly, I think 100,000 there were. Subhanallah. And they were an empire. These were just a band of people compared. Subhanallah. And the weather was extremely hot. and it was extremely difficult, and it was very far. And also the crop or the economic lifeline of the people in Medina, which was the crops of the date palm, this was just ripe, just at the right time to be picked now. So imagine they have spent most of the year preparing for this harvest of the date palm crop, and this will now last for the rest of the year in terms of their own food stocks, and this is their trade. At this time, Allah Ta'ala, He is saying what He mentioned before, that He will test you with loss of wealth. Allah Ta'ala's Rasul says then, this is general call to all the Muslimin, we have to go to Tabuk. And why? لِيَمِيدِ الْخَبِيثِ مِنَ الطَّيِّبِ. We mentioned this. To distinguish between the pure believers and the khabith, the evil, who are not pure. To make it very known who will go and who will stay behind. Straight away it will be known who had Iman and who didn't have Iman. So Iman really, it shines in difficulty. Did you get the point? It comes out, the real Iman. When it's easy going, nobody knows. But when the difficulty comes, like they say, when the going get tough, the tough get going. Yeah? Subhanallah. So in this backdrop, the munafiqeen started to make their excuses. So let's take this ayah 42. لو كان عرضا قريبا وسفرا قاصدا لاتبعوك ولكن بعدت عليهم الشقة. Had it been a near, easy gain and a moderate trip, they, the hypocrites, would have followed you. But distant to them was the journey, it was too far. وَسَيَحْلِفُونَ بِاللَّهِ لَوْ اسْتَطَعْنَا لَخَرَجْنَا مَعَكُمْ يُحْلِكُونَ أَنفُسَهُمْ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ إِنَّهُمْ لَكَاذِبُونَ. And they will swear by Allah. They will say, by Allah, if we were able, we would have gone forth with you. We would have gone with you, we would have been at the forefront with you. Destroying their own selves by making these false oaths, by swearing falsely. And Allah knows what indeed that they are liars. And the whole surah, Surah Al-Munafiqun, is dedicated to this disease. Nifaq is a disease. And the cure to this, what is it? What is the cure for nifaq? You have to add just one letter of the alphabet. Infaq. Yeah? Nifaq, hypocrisy. Infaq, what is infaq? We mentioned spending in the cause of Allah. Because the munafiq doesn't believe in a hereafter, therefore he doesn't spend, because he doesn't believe in that bank account. The believer believes in that bank account, he gives for that infaq. And infaq has many channels. Financial is one. Your intellect, to use your intellect for the cause of Allah, this is infaq fi sabilillah. Because the same intellect could have been used to work and gain money, yes or no? But you did that infaq with your ability, with your tongue, by writing. So many different types of infaq. But to spend for the cause of Allah, meaning to give all that you have, yourself, your wealth, your heart, your soul for the sake of Allah. This is infaq fi sabilillah. So they were running away from infaq. And look at this, subhanallah. When they used to come to the Prophet ﷺ, they would say, for example, my wife is not well, my children will be alone, I have to stay home, so I cannot leave them, or I am not well, etc., etc. And the Prophet ﷺ, look at him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He would not reprimand them. He knew in his heart, Allah told him this is a munafiq. But he would give them access. Yes, no problem. And in the same surah, it says that they said to him, look at how they behaved with him and how he behaved with them. Huwa udhun, that he's all ears. He just listens to everything and he accepts it. Doesn't verify it. They're ridiculing the Prophet ﷺ. La ilaha illallah. Yeah? And do you know who the Prophet ﷺ told about the hypocrites? He told somebody, these are the hypocrites. Do you remember? Because I've forgotten. Remember, inshallah, if you can find out. Yeah. One of the Sahaba, the Prophet ﷺ told him, he was known as the secret bearer of the Prophet. I think Hudayfa ibn Yaman, maybe. Yes, Hudayfa ibn Yaman, I think. He was told that this is hypocrite. Okay, because when they were coming back from a journey, they tried to ambush the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ, Hudayfa, he protected the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ told him, these are the munafiqeen. So Allah Ta'ala had told them. Yeah. So Allah Ta'ala is saying, Afallahu ank. Allah has pardoned you, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Why did you give them permission to remain behind? But Allah has forgiven you. Yeah? The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You should not have until it was evident to you who are truthful and who were the liars. You should not have given them the permission. Anyway, let's move on. Otherwise we will dwell on this because this is, subhanAllah, such an amazing topic. Allahu Akbar. It then talks about, let's take 47, ayah 47. Allah Ta'ala is then mentioning, it was good that they didn't come to the book with you because لَوْ خَرَجُوا فِيكُمْ مَا زَادُوكُمْ إِلَّا خَبَالًا وَلَا عَدَوْا وَلَا عَوْدَعُوا خِلَالَكُمْ يَبْغُونَكُمُ الْفِتْنَةَ وَفِيكُمْ سَمَّعُونَ لَهُمْ وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ بِالظَّالِمِينَ. Had they gone forth with you, yes, it says there, they would not have increased you except in confusion, and they would have been active among you, seeking to cause you fitna, chaos and dissension. And among you are avid listeners to them, and Allah is knowing of the wrongdoers. So it was good that they didn't go. You know, sometimes you go on a trip and you're excited, yeah? And there's some person who keeps moaning, I didn't want to come to this trip. Why am I on this trip? I didn't want to come, blah, 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 blah. This is not good. You see, he spoils the fun for everyone. So it's good that the munafiq didn't go, because they would start to make excuses, they would start to kill the morale. They would have started to say things like they said previously in Uhud, before Uhud. You didn't listen to us, you never listened to us, see how difficult it is, we're going to get killed, I told you so, blah blah blah. So it's good that they didn't go. لَقَدْ ابْتَغَوْا الْفِتْنَةَ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَقَلَّبُوا لَكَ الْأُمُورَ حَتَّى جَاءَ الْحَقُّ وَظَهَرَ أَمْرُ اللَّهِ وَهُمْ كَارِهُونَ. They had already desired dissension before and had upset matters for you, Prophet ﷺ, until the truth came, until the truth came and the ordinance, meaning the victory of Allah, appeared while they were averse to it. And look at this. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَقُولُ أُذَنْ لِي وَلَا تَفْتِنِّي. You know, one of the, subhanAllah, the munafiq is munafiq, may Allah protect us, yeah? One of the munafiqeen, he came to the Prophet ﷺ, he said, look, I am a weak man. Yeah, as soon as I see a woman, I cannot control myself. And I've heard that the Roman women, they are very attractive. So, Ya Rasulullah, don't put me in this fitna. Yeah? So this is saying, yeah? He said, do not, la taftinni. Do not put me into trial. Yeah? Look at the response. Allah Ta'ala is saying, ala fil fitnati saqatu. Unquestionably, into trial they have fallen. This, you fallen into the trial, meaning you failed the test. The test was to obey Allah and His Messenger, you failed it. Subhanallah, they are saying, don't put me into test, you failed your test yourself. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Wa inna jahannama la muhitatun bil kafirin. And indeed, hell will encompass the disbelievers. A'udhu billahi min dhalik. Khair, moving on then. The recipients of zakat have also been mentioned here. Yeah, let's just mention that here. Ayah 60. إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم وفي الرقاب والغارمين وفي سبيل الله وابن السبيل فريدة من الله والله عليم حكيم. Zakah is for the poor, the needy, for those who are employed over it or for it, and for bringing the hearts together for Islam, and for freeing captives or slaves, and for those in debt, and for the cause of Allah, and for the stranded traveler. An obligation imposed by Allah, zakah. And Allah is knowing and wise. So the ahkam of zakah, or the masarif of zakah, have been given here in this ayah 60. Let's move on to 64. Again focusing on the munafiqun here. يَحْذَرُ الْمُنَافِقُونَ أَن تُنَزَّلَ عَلَيْهِمْ سُورَةٌ تُنَبِّئُهُم بِمَا فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ. Subhanallah. This is exactly what this surah is. The hypocrites are always apprehensive, always fearful, lest a surah should be revealed about them, informing of what is in their hearts. And this surah is exactly that. This surah is doing exactly the uncovering everything. And Allah Ta'ala is mentioning that in this surah. قُلْ إِسْتَحْزِئُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ مُخْرِجٌ مَا تَحْذَرُونَ. Mock as you wish, indeed Allah will expose that which you fear most. Allah will make it clear that you are the munafiqun. Let's take 67 and 68 in this context. Al-munafiquna wal-munafiqatu ba'duhum min ba'd. The male munafiq, female munafiq, they are one from the other, same group. What do they do? Now look at this, how much of an opposite they are to the true believers. Ya'muruna bil munkar. The believers, what do? Ya'muruna bil ma'roof. They call to good. What do? Ya'muruna bil munkar, they call to evil. وَيَنْحَوْنَ عَنِ الْمَعْرُوفِ, and they stop people from ma'roof, subhanAllah. Because they would not themselves go and they would stop the others. Don't go to jihad. Can't you see? Are you stupid? It's so hot. What's wrong with you? You lost your mind. That's what they would say. Today the people say the same to the believers who want to go and do something. What's wrong with you, man? Relax. You're a bit too hyper. Chill. Take a chill pill, they say. Subhanallah. Don't work too hard. Just dunya, deen together. Don't worry. Relax. Allah is Ghafoor Rahim. Just pray your 5 prayers and that's enough. You don't need to call anybody. They don't like you anyway. So why are you calling them? Look at this from shaitan. So this is what the munafiqun do. وَيَقْبِدُونَ أَيْدِيَهُمْ, and they close their hands, meaning they are not very forthcoming in giving for the sake of Allah. نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَنَسِيَهُمْ. They forgot Allah, Allah forgot them. Subhanallah. That's dangerous. You know when Allah Ta'ala forgets somebody, that's destruction. That's destruction. But as long as you are remembering Allah, you are in a good, inshallah Ta'ala, state. Whether it is in hardship or not. Keep remembering Allah, Allah He will remember. If you remember Allah, Allah remembers you. You forget Him, He forgets you. And Surah Al-Hashr we will see, near the end of the ayat, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ittaqullaha, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I forgot the ayah, subhanallah, where it says that وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاكُمْ أَنفُسَهُم. Do not be like the people who forgot Allah. As a result, Allah caused them to forget their own selves. Meaning that they forgot who they really are. They thought they were just material robots. إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. The munafiqun, they are really the wrongdoers, the disobedient. وعد المنافقون وعد الله المنافقين والمنافقات والكفار نار جهنم خالدين فيها هي حسبهم ولعنهم الله ولهم عذاب مقيم. Allah has promised the hypocrite men and hypocrite women and the disbelievers the fire of hell. Look how Allah, He has categorized all of them into one here. أعوذ بالله من ذلك. Wherein they will abide eternally. It is sufficient for them, and Allah has cursed them, and for them is an enduring punishment. Curse means the inability to see the truth and accept the truth. After it has come to you and you have recognized and rejected it, then Allah Ta'ala doesn't allow you to accept it. Okay, now let's look at the believers, the contrast. وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. Look at that, subhanallah. The believers, they are to one another awliya, helpers. يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. They command good. وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. They stop people from bad. وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ. They establish the prayer. وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ. They do the zakah. وَيُطِيعُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. And they obey Allah and His Rasul. Obeying Allah and the Rasul, this is the key. Obey Allah and obey Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. أُولَٰئِكَ سَيَرْحَمُهُمُ اللَّهُ. Very near is that Allah will show them mercy. Sayarhamuhumullah. Very near. Meaning as soon as your eyes are closed, you will see the mercy of Allah. As soon as your eyes are closed, because you did this. Inna Allah Azizun Hakim. Allah, He is mighty, He is wise in His planning. And look at this. وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا ومساكن طيبة في جنات عدن ورضوان من الله أكبر ذلك والفوز العظيم. Look at it, beautiful, subhanAllah. Allah is saying, Allah has promised the believing men and women gardens under which rivers flow, therein they will abide eternally, and pleasant dwellings in the gardens of perpetual residence. But Ridwanullah, Allah Ta'ala's Rada, Him being pleased with you, this is best. Yeah? The best thing is that Allah is pleased. That's why we say radiyallahu an. Yeah? I mean, ذَلِكَ هُوَ الْفَوْزُ الْعَظِيمُ. This is the real success. And then Allah Ta'ala is saying to the Prophet ﷺ, Ya ayyuhan nabi, jahidul kuffara wal munafiqina waghlud alayhim. O Messenger, O Prophet, make jihad against these disbelievers and the hypocrites, and be harsh upon these hypocrites. You are too lenient. They take it for granted. وَمَأْوَاهُمْ جَهَنَّمُ وَبِئْسَ الْمَصِيرُ. For them there is the Jahannam, which is the worst of places to be in. Okay, let's take some other things have been mentioned here. They would make fun of the believers, yeah, when they would give charity. الَّذِينَ يَلْمِزُونَ الْمُطَوِّئِينَ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ فِي الصَّدَقَاتِ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَجِدُونَ إِلَّا جُهْدَهُمْ فَيَسْخَرُونَ مِنْهُمْ سَخِرَ اللَّهُ مِنْهُ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. Those who criticize the contributors among the believers concerning their charities. They used to bring some charity which was very little, yeah? This happened. One Sahabi came, he spent all his night working, and he brought a few dates. Yeah? And the Prophet ﷺ, you know what he did with those dates? He spread them amongst the whole, yeah, the donations, and he said, this is sufficient over all this, subhanAllah. And the munafiqeen, they're laughing that, what are these few dates going to do? You're going to go and fight with the Romans with these dates. Yeah? They're mocking them, subhanAllah. The Prophet ﷺ said, وَلَا تَحْقِرَنَّ مِنَ الْمَعْرُوفِ شَيْئًا. Do not underestimate even one little thing that is good. You give even 1 penny, don't underestimate, because that 1 penny Allah can make it into billions. But if you give billions without the good intention, that is nothing. Haba mansura, nothing, just dust. Subhanallah al-Azim. So Allah will ridicule them and they will have a painful punishment. And look at this very scary ayah for the munafiqeen. Istaghfir lahum aw la tastaghfir lahum. Whether you ask for their forgiveness or you don't. In tastaghfir lahum sab'ina marra. Even if you were to ask forgiveness 70 times, falan yaghfir Allahu lahum. Allah will not forgive them. And you know the Prophet ﷺ what he said? He said, if Allah would accept it after 70, I would do more than 70. Allahu Akbar. At the end of this surah, we will find the love of the Prophet ﷺ for this ummah. Subhanallah. Allah Ta'ala, He said, no. These munafiqeen, they do not qualify for this. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ كَفَرُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. Because they disbelieved in Allah and His Rasul in their hearts. وَاللَّهُ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمَ الْفَاسِقِينَ. Allah will not guide such wrongdoers. Okay, let's move on then, inshallah. It then talks about Tabuk and their permission asking. Allah Ta'ala is also saying to the Prophet ﷺ, do not pray over them when they have died, not to pray on these people. And you know Abdullah ibn Ubay, when he died, his son who was Muslim, Abdullah, he came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said that, Ya Rasulullah, you know what he said? Can you give me your shirt to put on my father? And Umar radiallahu anhu, he said, he's Rais al-Munafiqeen, we would give shirt for him. Prophet ﷺ, he is so, subhanAllah, generous. He took his shirt, gave it to him. He said, Ya Umar, this shirt will not save this munafiq from the punishment. Subhanallah. Prophet ﷺ, so full of mercy, even to the people he knew they were hypocrites. Allahu Akbar. And unfortunately today we start to label people, he's hypocrite, he's hypocrite. No, we can't. The person who says, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, he's Muslim. Full stop. Full stop. We cannot say to anybody he's munafiq. Yeah? Cannot. We know who is believer and disbeliever. Inshallah, we'll take a comment later, inshallah. Jazakallah khair, please, akhi. Afwan. Yeah. So, khair, moving on then. Let's start with the ayah 92 now. Huh? This is talking about the excuses that the Bedouins will come and they will make regarding the the journey and the expedition, etc. But Allah Ta'ala, He is now in ayah 100. There's a long discussion here, but no time to go into it. Different types of the Arab. Who are the Arab? Yeah, the people, the Bedouins. There are good, there are not so good, there are better, but who are the best? Yeah, so these are the best. وَالصَّابِقُونَ الْأَوَّلُونَ مِنَ الْمُحَاجِرِينَ وَالْأَنصَارِ وَالَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوهُمْ بِإِحْسَانٍ. Yeah, I want you to focus on this. The first, yeah, the Sabiqun al-Awwalun, the first to embrace Islam in Mecca. Yeah, and the first Sabiqun meaning they outdid others in their infaq. Yeah, in their efforts. From the Muhajirin and from the Ansar, both of them. وَالَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوهُمْ بِإِحْسَانٍ. Now there is hope for us as well, inshallah, the Ummah. And whoever obeyed them with ihsan in the deen. Hence here Allah Ta'ala is telling us what? The standard for us after Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam are the Sahaba. Yes, this is a great honor for the Ashabul Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Allah Ta'ala is mentioning them. And what about them? Radiyallahu anhum wa radu an. Look at this, beautiful. Allah is pleased with them and they are pleased with Allah. And what did we see in the previous ayat? The best thing will be Jannah and this, that, but the pleasure of Allah is the best, yeah? Allah is giving them the highest status. Allah is pleased with them, they are pleased with Allah. وَعَدَّ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي تَحْتَهَا الْأَنْهَارُ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا أَبَدًا. They will dwell in these paradise forever. This is the great success. But look at the other people. وَمِمَّنْ حَوْلَكُمْ مِنَ الْأَعْرَابِ مُنَافِقُونَ. There are others amongst them, around them, munafiq. وَمِنْ أَهْلِ الْمَدِينَةِ. And from the people of Medina. مَرَدُوا عَلَى النِّفَاقِ لَا تَعْلَمُهُمْ. They have persisted in their nifaq. You don't know them. We know them, Allah is saying, and we will punish them twice. And then they will go back to the adhabin azim, the greatest punishment. A'udhu billah min dhalik. Then there is this issue, the munafiqeen, they started to make this masjid. They built a masjid. They wanted to invite the Prophet ﷺ to actually kill the Prophet ﷺ. Prophet ﷺ, Allah Ta'ala, He guided him not to. Yeah. This was the Masjid Zirar. Zirar means to want to make, to break up things. Yeah. To cause havoc, to cause destruction. Allah Ta'ala is saying, no, this is not the place to go. And Allah Ta'ala is saying here, La taqum fihi abada. Do not ever go in there. Don't stand in there ever. Yeah. But what is the real masjid you should go to? أَفَمَنْ أَسَّسَ بُنْيَانَهُ عَلَى التَّقْوَى مِنَ اللَّهِ وَرِضْوَانٍ خَيْرٌ أَمَّنْ أَسَّسَ بُنْيَانَهُ عَلَى شَفَى جُرُفٍ حَارٍ فَانْهَارَ بِهِ فِي نَارِ جَهَنَّمَ وَاللَّهُ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمَ الظَّالِمِينَ. Then is one who laid the foundation of his building on righteousness with fear of Allah, seeking His approval better. This is mentioning Surah Masjid Quba. Yeah, better than this Masjid Dirar, who's laid the foundation of his building on the edge of a bank about to collapse. So it collapsed with him into the hellfire. This is Masjid Dirar, Masjid of destruction. So the Munafiqun wanted to have a place of their own where they could plot against the Muslimin and they could actually stash away their belongings, etc., to fight with the believers, etc. And then this ayah, Allahu Akbar, Subhanallah. This ayah is scary. This is telling us that Allah, the creator of our soul and our life and everything, He has bought back what He gave us for Jannah. Did you get it? He gave us this life and our soul. He is the owner anyway, yeah? But then He's saying, I'm giving this which is mine anyway. If you give it back to me, I will give you Jannah. Beautiful ayah. Inna Allah ashtara. Allah Ta'ala, He has purchased. Min al-mu'minina, from the believers, anfusahum wa amwalahum, their selves and their wealth. Bi anna lahumul jannah. For Jannah. So you have to give yourself and your wealth for the cause of Allah. What do these people do in this context of Surah Tawbah and Tabuk, etc. يُقَاتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ فَيَقْتُلُونَ وَيُقْتَلُونَ. They will fight in the cause of Allah, they will be killed, they will kill in the battlefield. وَعْدًا عَلَيْهِ حَقًّا فِي التَّوْرَاةِ وَالْإِنْجِيلِ وَالْقُرْآنِ. And this is a promise that Allah has given to all of the people, even in the previous scriptures. وَمَنْ أَوْفَى بِعَهْدِهِ مِنَ اللَّهِ. And who will fulfill his promise more than Allah? Of course, Allah, He will fulfill the promise. فَاسْتَبْشِرُوا. So therefore have good news. بِبَيْئِكُمُ الَّذِي بَايَعْتُمْ بِهِ. Subhanallah. Be happy on this bargain. You have struck a bargain, such a deal. Nobody can, subhanallah, top that. You know, you get happy on eBay sometimes, yeah? You get a bargain. It was £10, I got it for £5. Allah Ta'ala is giving the whole of Jannah just for the self and the wealth, to practice, yeah, and to do what Allah and His Rasul say, and to enjoy yourself as well, not to neglect yourself. Subhanallah al-Azim. And who are these people? التائبون العابدون الحامدون السائحون الراكعون الساجدون الآمرون بالمعروف والناهون عن المنكر والحافظون لحدود الله. These people, they do tawbah often. They worship Allah consistently. They always praise Allah. They are the people who fast, the people who bow down in sajda and before that in ruku, and they call to good and they forbid what is evil, and they make sure that the bounds of Allah, the boundaries of Allah, the limits of Allah are not crossed. They themselves do not cross them, and they do not but advise others not to cross them. These are the people who are mu'mineen, who have been given this glad tidings. May Allah Ta'ala in His mercy just make us like that. Ameen. Okay, moving on then, inshallah. There is also the incident of the 3 Ashab al-Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam, who didn't go to Tabuk. Yes, 3 of them. And they did not intend not to go. They were prepared. In fact, they were so prepared that they thought we can go a bit later. You know, sometimes if you know the route and you have a Ferrari and you know the way is, and you say, okay, I don't need to leave 2 hours, yeah, in advance, because the other people, they don't know the route, they need to know the route, they need to stop, blah, blah, blah. I will leave in time, I will get there. But as this happened, they realized, oh, even if we go now full speed, we will not reach. So 3 of the Ashab al-Nabi who did this. Now the Prophet ﷺ came back, he now asked, he called the people in the masjid one at a time. So the munafiqeen came first. Oh, Ya Rasulullah, I want you to go, but this happened, that happened, this. And Prophet ﷺ would just listen and say, okay, no problem. But then those 3 came. Yeah, there's a hadith on this. And one of them said to them, said to the Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rasulullah, I can also lie. I could also make excuse. But no. Beautiful hadith, no time. I was never wealthier than that time. I was never more prepared. But procrastination got the better of me, and I realized it's too late. So Ya Rasulullah, this is my crime, and I am open to punishment. And this was then a social boycott for 50 days. Some of them, they tied themselves up to the masjid to say, we will not leave this masjid, because they felt guilty, because they had iman. You know, the person who feels guilty is this is a sign of iman. The person who fears nifaq is because he has iman. If you have nifaq, you won't fear nifaq, because you have no iman to fear. You know, because iman is wealth. Iman is gold. You know, if you go to the bank and let's say you take out £3,000, £5,000 in your pocket, yeah? You're always looking around, yes or no? Yeah? If you don't have money in your pocket, do you look around? You don't care, because nothing there to lose. This is iman. The one who has iman, always cautious. Have I lost it or not? The one who doesn't have it, doesn't care, doesn't have it anyway to lose. This is nifaq. A'udhu billah min dhalik. So about these 3, Allah Ta'ala is saying, وَعَلَى الثَّلَاثَةِ الَّذِينَ خُلِّفُوا حَتَّى إِذَا ضَاقَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ الْأَرْضُ بِمَا رَحُبَتْ وَضَاقَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ أَنفُسُهُمْ وَظَنُّوا أَنْ لَا مَلْجَأَ مِنَ اللَّهِ إِلَّا إِلَيْهِ ثُمَّ تَابَ عَلَيْهِمْ لِيَتُوبُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ. Subhanallah. Allah Ta'ala, He is giving them tawbah in Quran. Subhanallah. He's accepted their tawbah. Allah in His kalam. Look at the status of these 3. that shows that if we make a mistake, we do sincere tawbah, Allah then raises the rank. Raises the rank. And if we have made mistake, as we do as human, we do tawbah, Allah will raise the rank. If we have been neglectful of the fact that we need to convey this message until now, and we have just woken up to this, just like these three, they realized it's too late. We do tawbah today, Allah will give us tawfiq to give the message to people, and He will raise us in ranks, inshaAllah. But not for us to become lazy like the hypocrites, and then just procrastinate forever, and then just relax. No. This is not for the believer, because Allah has bought us for the Jannah, and then hence we need to fulfill that bargain by investing everything that we have in His cause, inshaAllah. Ameen. Then there is mention of Ibrahim alayhi salam's tawbah, istighfar. He promised his father that he would do istighfar, but then Allah Ta'ala, when He made it clear that you cannot, then He stopped to make that istighfar. And this has been mentioned here. And it mentions the true believers in ayah 24. And it contrasts with the true munafiq. Yeah, Quran, its effect on the believer, Quran and its effect on the munafiq. وَإِذَا مَا أُنزِلَ سُورَةٌ فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَقُولُ أَيُّكُمْ زَادَتْهُ هَذِهِ إِيمَانًا. Yeah, when the Quran was revealed, because in Surah Al-Anfal, in the beginning, what did we say? One of the qualities of the true believers, وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِهِ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا. When the ayat of Allah are recited to them, increases them in iman. So they are now mocking. Okay, this Quran revealed. Okay, your iman increased. Okay, where is your iman? Subhanallah. Yeah. So Allah Ta'ala is saying, فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فَزَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا وَهُمْ يَسْتَبْشِرُونَ. As for those who believed, it has increased them in iman while they are rejoicing. Subhanallah. No time to go, but there are the sweetness of iman, things that you can, if you do, you will taste the sweetness of iman. If we have time afterwards, we will inshallah try to recall them. وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ. But in those people in whose heart there is a disease of nifaq, yeah, because the iman, the recipient is the heart, yeah, of iman, the heart. Nurun ala nur, we will come to that in Surah Nur inshallah. فَزَادَتْهُمْ رِجْسًا إِلَىٰ رِجْسِهِمْ وَمَاتُوا وَهُمْ كَافِرُونَ. Allah Ta'ala is saying, this is Quran that came to them, the ayat, it increased them only in the evil in addition to their own evil. Because their heart is not recipient. It cannot receive it because it's diseased. Because of this nifaq, وَهُمْ كَافِرُونَ, and they will die as kuffar. A'udhu billah min zalik. And this beautiful last two ayat, لَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ. Subhanallah al-azim. All this jihad and all this qital, but look, the Prophet ﷺ is calling to. Has come to you the Rasul from amongst you, Azizun alayhi ma anittum. Grievous to him is what you suffer. He used to grieve about it. He used to lose sleep over it. He would pray in the night until his feet would swell over this grief. And Allah Ta'ala says, فَلَعَلَّكَ بَاخِئٌ نَفْسَكَ عَلَىٰ آثَارِهِمْ إِن لَّمْ يُؤْمِنُوا بِهَذَا الْحَدِيثِ أَسَفًا. Surah Al-Kahf. You are killing yourself, Ya Rasulullah, that they do not believe. And look at us today. Do we worry about the disbelievers? Let him go to hell. Who cares? A'udhu billah. He is the enemy of Allah, he should go to hell. Look at this Prophet ﷺ. After this Tawbah, Surah Tawbah, the surah about qital. Look at the Prophet ﷺ. Harisun alaykum. He is concerned. Haris is not just concerned, he is dead concerned about you. Haris. Allah Ta'ala mentioned ahras nas before. You should link these things inshallah. Ahras nas. Good, jazakallah khair. Regarding the dunya. Yeah? Meaning so attached to the dunya, so concerned about the dunya. But the Prophet ﷺ, harisun alaykum. He is with you attached. He's attached with you, whether you're believing or not. He's attached to the ummah. Ummah is the whole of humanity. Please remember this, brothers and sisters. Ummah means the whole humanity. Either they have accepted or they need to be invited. That's the only distinction. They are all potentials to enter, inshallah ta'ala, to this da'wah. Ra'ufur Rahim. He is Ra'uf, He is Rahim. This is the only place where somebody has been called these two names, Ra'uf and Rahim. Prophet ﷺ has been given this title. فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا, but if they turn away, قُلْ فَقُلْ, then say, حَسْبِي اللَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُ. Sufficient for me is Allah, alayhi tawakkaltu, upon Him I rely, وَهُوَ رَبُّ الْعَرْشِ الْعَظِيمِ, and He is the Lord of the great throne. And this actually, by the way, this to say this, حَسْبِي اللَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُ عَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلْتُ وَهُوَ رَبُّ الْعَرْشِ الْعَظِيمِ, 7 times in the morning and 7 times in the evening. This is one of the adhkar of the morning and the evening. Inshallah, let's try to, inshallah, make these adhkar, especially in the... This is the last verse of the surah, this is simple. 129. Jazakallah khair for your inquiry. Okay, we're going to move on to Surah Yunus now. We will take as much of Surah Yunus as we can. We will try to do the surah in 15 minutes. Let's see if we can, inshallah. Khair. Bismillah. Surah Yunus then, period of revelation, the 12th of Nabawi. Yeah? With Surah Hud, which is coming next. Now, let's look at the link between the two surah. Yeah? The link between Surah Tawbah and Surah Yunus. In Surah Tawbah, it is all about jihad. Yeah? That the proof has come to you, now you have to receive the punishment, you have to stand up to fight, or you accept the message. However, in Surah Yunus, because this is the 12th year of Nabawi, yeah, the itmam of the hujjah is being done. What that means is that the proof has been made clear. Yeah? The hujjah is established, that you have received the message clearly, with proofs and with discussion, and clearly having explained Tawheed, clearly having explained what is shirk, and how to differentiate the two, and then you know exactly what is happening. Yeah? And then in Surah Hud, which comes after this Surah Yunus, then there is mention, and there is an invitation for Tawbah. So here in Surah Hud, it is being made clear, kufr and iman, the proofs for Allah's Tawheed, and the proofs against any shirk. So it's clear. Then in Surah Hud, they are being invited to do Tawbah. You see the link? Yeah, the link is there, inshaAllah ta'ala. Khair. So we said 12th of Nabawi. Some context of this, there were allegations of the fabrication of this Quran by the Prophet ﷺ. Also that he is a sorcerer, yeah, and that this Quran, yeah, we will not believe in it. And then there we will find in these surahs, Allah Ta'ala, He gives the challenge to bring a surah like it then, if you think that this is not from Allah. Okay, let's then take the central theme of that, inshallah. Bismillah. Bismillah. Okay, central theme, the establishment of a manifest proof against the mushrikeen of Makkah regarding Tawheed, Risala and Akhirah in light of the Quranic proofs, and a reply to their demands and objections. So they were making all these objections. The first and the end of this, the first 2 ayat here, part 1 and part 8, the last 5 ayat, they starts about Quran, ends with Quran. This is just one thing to mention, yeah. So the first is talking about Quran is based on wisdom, and there are glad tidings for the believers, and there is news for the disbelievers of an adhab. This is how it is starting off. Then part 2, debate with the mushrikeen of Quraysh and the rejectors of Akhirah, and now to defend the Quran. So many proofs of Tawheed have been given here. Yeah, if we take and His Rububiyyah. So just take this one. Inna rabbakumullahu alladhi, this is ayah 3. خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ فِي سِتَّةِ أَيَّامٍ. Allah, He is the one who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. ثُمَّ اسْتَوَى عَلَى الْأَرْشِ, and then He rose above His throne. يُدَبِّرُ الْأَمْرِ, He is actually doing tadbir of the amr, meaning here, He is arranging all the matters. Everything is under His control. مَا مِن شَفِيٍ إِلَّا مِن بَعْدِ إِذْنِهِ. Nobody can intercede except he or she has been given the permission to. ذَلِكُمُ اللَّهُ رَبُّكُمْ فَاعْبُدُوا. That is Allah. Meaning this is who Allah is, the concept of Allah. Therefore you should worship Him because He is the owner of all this. He created all this. He is running the affairs. Then who should you worship? Idols? Who you made with your own hand? Or worship each other? No, worship Allah. أَفَلَا تَذَكَّرُونَ. Don't you think? Won't you be reminded? SubhanAllah. Allah Ta'ala, SubhanAllah, qawlan baligh. It goes inside the person and shakes the person. If he wants to be shaken or not. That's up to the person. Moving on then, inshallah. And then Allah Ta'ala is telling them what will happen if you do not take up on the message. Ayah 13. وَلَقَدْ أَهْلَكْنَا الْقُرُونَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَمَّا ظَلَمُوا. And we have destroyed people, generations before you, after they wronged, meaning they didn't believe, they did shirk. وَجَاءَتْهُمْ رُسُلُهُمْ بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَمَا كَانُوا لِيُؤْمِنُوا. The messengers came with them with the clear proofs, but they were not to believe. كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْقَوْمَ الْمُجْرِمِينَ. And this is how we then recompense the people who are criminals. So Allah Ta'ala is saying to the Quraysh, don't be like those people. Before we saw the 6 nations, they were told about them. And they knew about them because they were on their trade caravans. And then ثُمَّ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ خَلَائِفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ لِنَنْظُرَ كَيْفَ تَعْمَلُونَ. You see the connection here. Those 6 nations that were mentioned before, in Surah Araf, Surah Al-A'raf, they would see these people in terms of their dwellings of the past, on their trade caravans. Allah Ta'ala is saying, then we made you to succeed them on the earth, Quraysh. You are now the next trial. Okay? So Allah Ta'ala is saying, so we may, لِلُنْذِرَ كَيْفَ تَعْمَلُونَ. We will now see what will you do. Will you do the same thing or will you believe? And this was what they would say to the Prophet ﷺ. وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا بَيِّنَاتٍ. When Allah Ta'ala's Rasul is reciting to them the ayat clear. قَالَ الَّذِينَ لَا يَرْجُونَ لِقَاءَنَا. The people who do not believe in the hereafter would say, إِئْتِ بِقُرْآنٍ غَيْرِ هَذَا أَوْ بَدِّلْ. They would say to the Prophet ﷺ, look, Muhammad, bring another book. This is too strict, this book. This is too much truth in this book. It speaks only truth. What's wrong with this book? أَوْ بَدِّلْ. Or change it slightly. Make it, accommodate, man. Be flexible. What's wrong with you? You need to give and take here. This is what they are saying. قُلْ. Say to them, مَا يَكُونُ لِي أَنْ أُبَدِّلَهُ مِنْ تِلْقَاءِ نَفْسِي. Say that I have no say in the matter. I cannot just change it by what I want. No. إِنْ أَتَّبِعُ إِلَّا مَا يُوحَى إِلَيْهِ. I am not but following what's being given to me. I'm following it myself. I'm not writing it. إِنِّي أَخَافُ إِنْ أَسَيْتُ رَبِّي أَذَابَ يَوْمٍ أَذِيمٍ. Because I fear from Allah that great torment, that great adhab, that great punishment which will befall me and which will befall you. Subhanallah al-Azim. You see how involved the Prophet ﷺ was with his audience. He was involved at every level with them. وَيَقُولُونَ لَوْلَا أُنزِلَ عَلَيْهِ آيَةٌ مِّن رَبِّي فَقُلْ إِنَّمَا الْغَيْبُ لِلَّهِ فَانْتَظِرُوا إِنِّي مَعَكُمْ مِنَ الْمُنْتَظِرِينَ. So they would say, why don't you bring some sign, some miracle to the Prophet ﷺ again? Bring a miracle. Allah Ta'ala's Rasul is saying, that is with Allah. That's not up to me. I cannot bring these miracles that you are asking for me. Let's go into the next section then, section 3. This is debate with the materialistic Quraysh leadership and defending the Quran. Okay, many ayat here. Let's take a few there, inshallah. Let's take this. This 23. فَلَمَّا أَنْجَاهُمْ إِذَا هُمْ يَبْغُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ. But when we save them, this is some backdrop here, when they go on a journey and they're in the sea, and as we know, there's a storm, then they say, we will dedicate ourselves to Allah, but when they come back, they don't. In that backdrop. يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ إِنَّمَا بَغْيُكُمْ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِكُمْ مَتَاعَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا ثُمَّ إِلَيْنَا مَرْجِعُكُمْ فَنُنَبِّئُكُم بِمَا كُنتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. He's saying, but when he saves them, at once they commit injustice upon the earth without right. So they forget, they promise that we will dedicate ourselves to Allah. Allah Ta'ala is here warning them of this. And then he is inviting them. Wallahu yad'u ila daris salam wa yahdi man yasha ila siratin mustaqim. Allah Ta'ala is saying, Allah, He invites you to the Darus Salam, the home of peace, the paradise. And He guides whom He wants to His way. So take the guidance. Allah Ta'ala is still, He is inviting the Quraysh leadership. And then ayah 34, if we take 34 and 35, then Allah Ta'ala is giving them proofs. قُلْ هَلْ مِنْ شُرَكَائِكُمْ مَنْ يَبْدَأُ الْخَلْقَ ثُمَّ يُعِيدُ. Whom from amongst the people you associate with Allah created in the first place and then now will redo that? Who? Did Lat, Manat, Uzza, did they create and they will recreate? Who? قُلِ اللَّهُ يَبْدَأُ الْخَلْقَ ثُمَّ يُعِيدُ. You should say Allah is the one who initiates the creation and He will bring it back. فَأَنَّا تُؤْفَكُونَ. So then where are you deluded? Where are you going? قُلْ هَلْ مِنْ شُرَكَائِكُمْ مَنْ يَهْدِي إِلَى الْحَقِّ. Who amongst your shuraka, the idols, the worshipper, the thing that you worship other than Allah, who guides to the truth? You should say, قُلِ اللَّهُ يَهْدِي لِلْحَقِّ. Allah guides to the truth. أَفَمَنْ يَهْدِي إِلَى الْحَقِّ أَحَقُّ أَنْ يُتَّبَعَ أَمَّنْ لَا يَحِدِّ إِلَّا أَنْ يُهْدَى. Who has more right to be worshipped and to be followed than the one who guides, rather than the one who cannot be guided unless he is guided? So who should be guided? Who should be worshipped? The one who guides or the one who needs guidance? Of course, the one who guides. فَمَا لَكُمْ كَيْفَ تَحْكُمُ. What's wrong with you? How do you judge? How do you come to these decisions, these conclusions? So Allah Ta'ala is discussing with them now. Think, reflect, process, calculate, come to a reasonable conclusion. وَمَا يَتَّبِعُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ إِلَّا الظَّنَّ. Allah Ta'ala is saying most of them, they don't but just follow conjecture. Just maybe no. Don't know, not sure. إِنَّ ظَنَّ لَا يُغْنِي مِنَ الْحَقِّ شَيْئًا. And the dhann, this conjecture, is nothing in comparison to the haqq. And Allah Ta'ala, He knows everything that they do. And then Allah Ta'ala, He's challenging them. أَمْ يَقُولُونَ افْتَرَى. Do you say that he made it up, the Prophet ﷺ? قُلْ فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِثْلِهِ وَدْعُوا مَنِ اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Okay then, bring a surah like it then. And ask anybody to help you. In another part of the Quran, Allah Ta'ala says, anybody other than Allah. Jinn, ins, come together and bring a Quran, one surah like it. And you cannot and you will not. وَلَن تَفْعَلُوا فَلَن تَفْعَلُوا. Surah Al-Baqarah. In the beginning, Allah Ta'ala, He decided this anyway. Subhanallah al-Azim. So the best thing is for you to believe in this book and to follow it. And then Allah Ta'ala is saying the consequence. وَيَوْمَ يَحْشُرُهُمْ كَأَنْ لَمْ يَلْبَثُوا إِلَّا سَاعَةً مِنَ النَّهَارِ يَتَعَارَفُونَ بَيْنَهُمْ قَدْ خَسِرَ الَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِلِقَاءِ اللَّهِ وَمَا كَانُوا مُهْتَدِينَ. Allah Ta'ala is saying the day when you are resurrected, you will be gathered, you will think, I was in the life just for 1 hour maybe. Was it an hour? Was it half an hour? Or kalamhim bil basar, like twinkling of an eye. I was there. This is the real world. Subhanallah al-Azim. Allah Ta'ala is saying this is the reality of this life. And brothers, when we give da'wah, we need to give comprehensive understanding of reality of life. This life is blinking of an eye compared to the whole life of the hereafter. Then Sharia makes 100% sense even to the disbeliever. Because he knows or she knows where it fits. Might not believe in it. Yeah? Khair, inshallah. May Allah Ta'ala guide us towards that. Let's take then the next section, 4, which is debate with the rejectors of Risala from the Quraysh and the rejectors of the Day of Judgment. And again, it defends the Quran, as we mentioned. This is a challenge to the disbelievers regarding the bringing of a surah like this. They would ask the Prophet ﷺ, ayahs 47 and 48, when is the azab going to come? Bring it. Rasulullah ﷺ is saying, this is not up to me. And then Rasulullah ﷺ also mentioned, if it was up to me, maybe it would have come already. So you should be grateful it's not up to me. It is up to Allah. For every nation there is a set time. But when the time comes, لا يستقدمون ولا يستأخرون. You cannot take it forward or bring it back. It is set. Just like our departure from this dunya is set. At the right time, at the right place, we will have to depart this earth. And then ayah 54 mentions that on the Day of Judgment, now Allah Ta'ala, He's also telling them about the Day of Judgment. وَلَوْ أَنَّ لِكُلِّ نَفْسٍ ظَلَمَتْ مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ لَفْتَدَتْ بِهِ. And if each soul would that wronged had everything on earth, it would offer it in ransom on the day of judgment. They would say, take everything. Take it all. Believe me. Spare me. وَأَسَرُّوا النَّدَامَةَ لَمَّا رَأَوُا الْعَذَابِ. And they will confine regret when they see the punishment. They will feel regretful. وَقُضِيَ بَيْنَهُمْ بِالْقِسْطِ. But what they will be judged with justice. Allah is not going to do dhulm. Allah لَيْسَ بِالظَّلَّامٍ لِلْعَبِيدِ. He doesn't do justice, injustice, never. Justice. وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ. He doesn't do injustice. Look, subhanAllah, this is such a mercy, telling the humanity, you will end up in the hellfire if you do not believe, and you will regret, and this is how you will regret, this is how you will feel. Open your eyes to this hidayah, take it on board. And then look, Allah Ta'ala is telling the people, Ya ayyuhan nas qad ja'atkum maw'izatun min rabbikum. O mankind, has come to you the maw'izah, this advice from your Lord. Shifa'un lima fi sudur. It is a cure for what is in the breasts. All the diseases of the breast, hatred, prejudice, arrogance, disbelief. It is a cure. And it is guidance, and it is a mercy for the believers though. You see how the ayah started? Nas ends with mu'minin. So if you want to be just nas, then this is it. But if you go through this, you will become the believers. قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ مِمَّا يَجْمَعُونَ. This Quran and its guidance is better than everything that you gather and that you have. Subhanallahil Azim. May Allah Ta'ala give us the portion for us. Ameen. Moving on to the next portion then. Number 5. Debate with the Quraysh regarding their belief in shirk and their fabricated rules regarding halal and haram. So they would make halal and haram, we mentioned before as well. Yeah, and they had no basis for these things. 2 ayat I want to take, the awliya of Allah, because the people have got very strange concepts of awliya. Who is waliullah? They think waliullah has to fly, or waliullah has to do karamat, or waliullah has to be something special. He doesn't fast or pray anymore because he is above that. Yeah? Who is waliullah? Who tells us? Allah will tell us. Allah, no. Yeah? And no doubt. Inna awliya Allahi. The wali of Allah, the friends of Allah, la khawfun alayhim wa lahum yahzanun. Upon them there is no grief, no fear upon the day of judgment. Alladhina amanu wa kanu yattaqun. So look, this, subhanallah. Allah Ta'ala told us the definition of wali. Amanu, first of all, they have to be believer, yeah? And yattaqun, and then they have to have taqwa of Allah. Subhanallah. Khalas. Any Muslim can become waliullah. You don't have to go to some certain place to be, yeah? You have to believe and have taqwa. And keep trying, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. And it may be that we are all wali of Allah in our own right. Our own degree. Allah knows best. May Allah Ta'ala make us from His awliya. Ameen. We don't want to fly on carpets. Khair. And then Allah Ta'ala is saying, they are saying fabrication, fabrication, fabrication. قُلْ إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَفْتُرُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ لَا يُفْلِحُونَ. You are the fabricators, not the Prophet ﷺ. You are fabricating against Allah. You will never be successful in this life or in the hereafter. مَتَاعُ الدُّنْيَا قَلِيلٌ. Allah Ta'ala is saying, in this dunya what you will have very short period of time. But the hereafter, that's the real thing where you would be punished if you do not believe in this message. And then the next section is debate with the mushrikeen. It talks about Nuh alayhi salam and Fir'aun, and that Musa alayhi salam, he told his people to establish prayer to become righteous and steadfast. Yeah. It also defends the Quran. I'm just trying to look for this correct ayah here. Ayah 82, I believe it is in here. There's mention of Musa alayhi salam here. Khair, let's take 87. Allah Ta'ala is saying, we inspired to Musa and his brother, settle your people in Egypt in houses and make your houses face the Qibla and establish prayer and give glad tidings to the believers, to make sure that the believers are steadfast. And then finally, the last section that we will be able to take is the story of Yunus alayhi salam, and we will inshallah continue with that next session. May Allah Ta'ala accept inshallah our efforts and open our hearts and minds for this Quran. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وجزاكم الله خيرا.